A 7-year-old boy hasn't spoken a single word. The best speech therapists in America have declared the case impossible. His father, Diego Harrison, CEO of a $3 billion tech empire, has spent a fortune on treatments, therapies, and specialists. Nothing. But today, in a neighborhood cafe where Diego has brought his son out of desperation, the impossible happens. A 25-year-old waitress approaches their table with a genuine smile. She doesn't know who Diego is. She doesn't know his wealth. She has no idea of this family's drama. She only sees a sad child who smiles at her shyly. "Hi, handsome," she says sweetly to Pablo. "Would you like to play with me while you wait?" For the first time in 7 years, the child's lips move. A whisper, barely perceptible, comes from his mouth. "Yes." Diego collapses in his chair. His wife had died 3 years ago without ever hearing their son's voice. And now this stranger has achieved what millions of dollars couldn't. What happens next will change 3. Lives forever and prove that love cannot be bought, it can only be given. Diego Harrison observes the scene, unfolding before his eyes as if witnessing a miracle. In the small Sunshine Cafe, a neighborhood coffee shop where he has brought his son out of desperation, the impossible is happening. Pablo, his 7-year-old boy who hasn't spoken a word in 3 years, is talking with Carmen Garcia, a 25-year-old waitress with a genuine smile. She doesn't know who Diego is, doesn't know his wealth, has no idea of the drama this family has lived through. Carmen is kneeling next to the child with the patience of an angel, holding a red marker in her hand. "Very good, Pablo," she says with a sweet voice. "Now tell me what color this is." "Red," whispers Pablo. And Diego feels the world stop again. 3 years of silence after Elena's death, his wife. 3 years of doctors, therapies, specialists that have cost a fortune without results. The best speech therapist in New York had declared, "Mr. Harrison, your son has a deep emotional block. He might never speak again, but this girl, with her simple waitress apron and authentic smile, has achieved the impossible in half an hour." When Carmen approaches to take their order, Diego can't contain the question burning inside him. She responds with disarming simplicity. Children speak when they feel safe, and Pablo feels safe here. Diego studies this young woman who has changed everything without even realizing it. In her eyes, he sees something rare. Genuine love for children, born from the experience of having raised an autistic brother since she was 15 years old. In that moment, Pablo performs another miracle. He addresses his father directly for the first time since Elena died. "Dad, I like her." Diego feels tears rising to his eyes as he makes the decision that will change everything. He will return the next day. The next day, Diego returns to Sunshine Cafe, dressed more casually. He has chosen jeans and a shirt instead of his usual suit, hoping Pablo will feel even more comfortable. But above all, he wants to understand what makes Carmen so special. Carmen's reaction when she sees them enter is immediate and sincere. Her face genuinely lights up when she sees them arrive, and she addresses Pablo with the same warmth as the day before. The child responds with a simple, "good," that still makes Diego's heart tremble. While Carmen works, Diego watches her attentively. She is efficient but never hurried. She treats each customer like an old friend, and occasionally throws affectionate glances at Pablo, who draws quietly at the table. The conversation that follows reveals Carmen's story. A young woman who has sacrificed everything to care for her brother Lucas after their parents' death. She works as a waitress to pay for the special treatments the boy needs. And Diego feels deep respect growing within him for this extraordinary girl. When Carmen asks about Pablo's past, Diego opens up for the first time in years. He tells about Elena's death, the trauma that left his son mute, the desperation that brought them there. Carmen's response is simple and profound. She also lost her mom, but she has learned that love always remains in the heart. When she asks Pablo to tell her about his mom, another miracle occurs. For the first time in 3 years, Pablo begins to talk about Elena with simple but clear words. He tells Carmen the stories his mom used to read to him, the songs she sang, how much he misses her. Diego cries silently, realizing his son only needed someone who truly understood his pain. In that moment, he understands that Carmen isn't just a waitress who made Pablo talk. She is the person who can give life back to both of them. In the weeks that follow, Sunshine Cafe becomes a regular appointment for Diego and Pablo. Each day after school, they stop for an hour, and Diego observes with growing amazement his son's transformation. Pablo talks more and more, laughs, plays with other children in the corner Carmen has prepared especially for them. The girl becomes his confidant, the person with whom he shares each small discovery of the day. Diego watches her interact with Pablo and feels something being born within him that he thought had died with Elena. Hope. Carmen still doesn't know who Diego really is. To her, he is simply a devoted father who deeply loves his son, and this makes her even more special in his eyes. There is no calculation in her attention, no interest, only pure love for a child who needs to heal. One afternoon, while Pablo plays carefree with other children, Diego takes courage and makes Carmen a proposal that will change everything. He offers her a job working for him as Pablo's educator with a salary that is unimaginable to her. Carmen's reaction hits him deeply. She isn't enthusiastic or interested in the money. She is worried. She can't leave her current job because the cafe owner helps her with schedules to care for Lucas. She can't afford to risk the stability she has built with so much effort. When Diego insists and reveals the figure he is willing to pay, Carmen is left speechless. But her first reaction isn't joy, it's disbelief. How can a simple father afford such an amount? And above all, why should she accept what she considers charity? Diego tries to explain that it isn't charity, but the value he places on his son's happiness. But he sees in her eyes that something has changed. For the first time, Carmen is wondering who the man she has come to know really is. It is Pablo who breaks the tension of the moment. He runs toward them with an idea born from his child's heart. Carmen could come to his house and bring Lucas too, so they could all play together. In his innocent words is the solution no adult had dared to imagine. But Diego knows the time has come to reveal who he really is, even if this risks destroying the magic that has been created between them. That night, Diego accompanies Carmen to his penthouse in the Upper East Side. The private elevator goes up to the 40th floor, while she observes the luxury surrounding her in confusion. When they enter the apartment worth millions, Carmen finally understands who the man she has served in the cafe for weeks really is. Diego Harrison, the multi-millionaire CEO of Harrison Tech, the one who appears in business newspapers. The shock of the revelation hits her like a slap. She sits heavily on the leather sofa, realizing she has treated one of America's richest men as a normal customer. Diego explains that they needed someone who would see him and his son, not his wealth. For the first time in years, someone had treated them as normal people, and that had been liberating. But Carmen suddenly feels out of place. She, a simple waitress with a disabled brother. He, a multimillionaire who lives in an unreachable world. The distance between their worlds suddenly seems insurmountable. Diego confesses to having fallen in love with her kindness, with the way she brought Pablo back to life. But Carmen is overwhelmed by the reality of the situation. At that moment, the phone rings. It's Pablo asking when Carmen will come back, because he wants to show her a drawing of the four of them together as a family. The innocent voice of the child breaks the tension and makes both understand that what they are feeling goes beyond social differences. It is the beginning of something bigger, a true family of the heart. Are you enjoying this story? Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Now let's continue with the video. The next day, Diego accompanies Carmen to meet Lucas in the small social housing in Queens. The 18-year-old with Down syndrome receives Diego and Pablo with a radiant smile, as if he had known them forever. Lucas and Pablo connect immediately. The child, initially shy, approaches curiously to the colorful drawings Lucas shows him with pride. In the space of an hour, they are playing together like old friends, and Diego observes the scene with growing emotion. This is the family he didn't know he wanted. Not perfect according to social standards, but authentic and full of love. While Carmen prepares tea in the kitchen, Diego makes her a proposal that will change everything. He no longer wants to hire her as an employee, but wants her and Lucas to come live with them as a real family. Diego has already contacted the best specialists in America for Lucas. He can guarantee him all the necessary treatments and a secure future. But above all, he wants Pablo to grow up with them, for Carmen to become the mother the child has lost. When Diego asks what she wants in return, Carmen confesses to having loved him for weeks already. She has fallen in love watching him be such a dedicated father, but she is afraid of not being up to his world. Pablo's voice from the other room resolves all doubts. The child has already announced to Lucas that he will come live with them and asks when they can arrange a room all for him. Looking at the two boys laughing together, Carmen understands her heart has already chosen for all of them. She accepts becoming the family Diego and Pablo were looking for. 2 years later, Diego's villa in the Hamptons is unrecognizable. The perfectly maintained garden now has a swing, a slide, and a play area for Lucas. The formal living rooms have been transformed into cozy spaces, where the family gathers each afternoon. Carmen and Diego married 6 months ago in a simple ceremony where Pablo served as witness and Lucas carried the rings. Now Carmen Harrison works part-time managing a foundation for children with communication difficulties, while Lucas attends a specialized day center and has made incredible progress. "Mom," says Pablo one afternoon while doing homework together. He began calling Carmen Mom spontaneously after the wedding. "The teacher asked us to write an essay about my family. And what do you want to write? That I have 2 moms, one who is in heaven and protects me, and one who is here and makes me laugh every day." Carmen feels her eyes fill with tears. "And about Dad? That Dad was sad before, but now he always smiles, especially when he looks at you." It's true. Diego has become a different man, more present, happier, more human. He has reduced his work hours to be with the family and has discovered his company functions better when he is at peace. "And what will you write about Lucas?" asks Carmen. "That he's the best brother in the world, and that he taught me that being different is special." That night, when the children are sleeping, Diego and Carmen sit on the terrace looking at Manhattan. "Do you know what I'm thinking?" says Diego, embracing her. "Tell me." "That if I hadn't taken Pablo to that cafe that day, I would still be a rich man but poor in love. And I would still be a waitress dreaming of a better life for her brother. But look where we are now." Carmen turns to look at him. "Where are we?" "Home. Finally home." At that moment, Pablo appears at the terrace door in pajamas. "I can't sleep," he says. "What's wrong, little one?" asks Diego. "I just wanted to tell you that I love all 3 of you." Diego and Carmen take him between them. "We love you too, treasure." "And tomorrow can we go to Carmen's cafe?" "I want to say hi to Mr. Carlos." Carmen laughs. Sunshine Cafe is still their special place where they go every Sunday to remember how it all began. "Of course, love. Tomorrow we'll go see Mr. Carlos." As they accompany Pablo back to bed, Diego thinks about how life can change in an instant. A child who didn't speak, a waitress with a heart of gold, and a man who had forgotten what true love was. Now they are a family, not perfect, but real. Not built by blood, but by love. And Diego knows this is the greatest wealth he will ever possess. The story of Diego, Carmen, Pablo, and Lucas demonstrates that love cannot be bought with money, but is built with patience, understanding, and the courage to open one's heart. And that sometimes the most extraordinary people hide in the simplest places, waiting only for someone to recognize them. If this story has touched your heart and made you believe in the power of love that heals, leave a like. If you believe true love doesn't look at wealth but at the heart, subscribe to the channel for more stories that celebrate families created by love, not by blood. Comment below about who is the person who has changed your life unexpectedly. Tell us your story. Share this video with someone who needs to believe that love can be born in the simplest places. And if you want more stories that show how love can overcome any social barrier, ring the bell. Remember, the most special people often hide in the humblest places. True love doesn't need money to grow. It only needs open hearts and generous souls. See you in the next story that will make you believe in the magic of families of the heart.